Today we observed several polling stations. In general, the environment was very calm. I would like to mention that from what we saw, that election commissions were very well prepared. COVID measures were taken really strictly. They acted very professionally. From all the polling stations we have seen, there were no violations or official complaints submitted. And overall expression was pretty good. People waiting outside in the line were very organized, and basically we didn't saw any violations of the protocols and procedures. We saw small minor honest mistakes, which doesn't have the effect on the electoral process, but in general I think from what we have observed and from the people we have talked, general environment and process was very good.
I would like to point out two aspects of the elections, and the first one is transparency. I personally visited about 8 or even 9 polling stations, and what I saw is great involvement of observers, local observers, NGOs, talked to political parties, and I had a feeling that everything is very transparent, and there is, I would say, no place for mistakes. The next aspect was actually a anti-identity fraud measurements. By every polling station entrance, our identities was checked when we entered the room, and later we observed that this is the procedure for all the voters. Also, each of the voters were checked for these markers. And the third level was when actually they gave out the ballots, and also voter register plus with image identity of the person voting. So all these 3 aspects I consider very serious measurements in order to avoid identity fraud. I believe that the elections were prepared really well, and level of service in each station voting poll we visited was actually at the same very high level, even in those stations we visited outside the city.
First of all, I would like to thank the Central Election Commission and election commissions of all levels for the quality election day preparation and the strictly legal procedures implementation. During this day, I have visited several dozen polling stations in Tbilisi. Most of them showed compliance with the election law and COVID security measures. Because of those measures, many voters had to wait in queue outside the polling stations, but according to my observations, this time did not exceed 10 or 15 minutes. The procedure for issuing ballots was transparent and non-manipulative. Observers from different political parties of Georgia have the opportunity to control all the activities at polling stations. Video recording of the vote counting process is an important achievement that should make the process of results counting be clear. The main thing that I would like to note is the friendly behavior and calmness of the election commission's members. At the polling stations, there is no place for passions that boiled in the media and on the streets during the pre-election campaign. I hope that the vote counting will also finish calmly and without dispute.
As my colleague already said, I'm very glad to note the high level of the elections organization. The atmosphere was calm and non-conflict. At the polling station I visited, there was minimum violations, complaints registered. I noticed the small number of those people who voted at home out of the polling station, and I think it's a good sign. One more thing I want to admire, it's the active participation of young people in this election process, and not only as voters, but also as members of elections commissions, as secretaries, and even as head. In these elections, many innovations have been implemented for the first time. For example, video recording of the ballot papers counting process, the usage of electronic ballot readers, and, for example, usage of special lenses for visually impaired people. All these actions should increase the legitimacy of these elections, I hope.